Mercedes duo LB and Lawrence. Is LB here tonight? He's in the Mercedes.
He is, yeah, because
I think he forgot to pick his car.
He did forget to pick his car. We tried to get him to pick his car, but everyone just wanted to get going. So he'll be putting the Red Bull in the standings, but yeah.
Oh dear. And then there's Darth Nihilus, of course, our champion, and Rob Sue, who rookie last season, and he made quite an impression. He's not here tonight, unfortunately, but that is your pairing in the Ferrari standings. And actually a bit of a fun fact for everybody, if they were to win the Constructors this season, then it would be the third different driver pairing to win the Constructors for Ferrari in Tier 2. It's quite an interesting one, I found. Then we've got Maniac Mango, the Canadian, and Little Manny Man in the McLarens. Neither McLaren is here tonight, of course. Then we've got Fido Man and Judith, who we're watching along with right now. TTD Judith making their way around the circuit in the Alpine, lighting up the timing board. We'll ignore those for these first runs at the moment. Then we've got Matthias and Bergen, another new member of the Tier 2 flock. They're taking up the AlphaTauri seats. Then we have Muhiti and Mr. J-Man in the Aston Martins. Only Muhiti is here with us this evening, as I believe it's about time for Mr. J-Man to eat, as he's fasting at the moment, I believe. And then we've got the Williams duo of JBS Steve and Krauser. Krauser is the only one representing the English outfit, of course. And then Henry is the lone Alfa Romeo, but he is not here tonight either. But that is all of your drivers for the Tier 2 Championship. Hopefully we get some more. Hopefully we get some more turning up for races in the future. We've got 10 races, of course, and this is only number 1.
Indeed, indeed. We've got Muhiti going to set the first lap, I believe, or maybe it will be Palang. No, it will be TTV Judith, a 19.8 to start us off. Muhiti, it's so close to becoming the champion in Season 6, but Season 7 was a woeful season. Hopefully he can pick it back up again. It's an 18.7 to start off. Palang goes pole for now with an 18.5, but I'm sure those times are going to come tumbling down.
Yeah, and we've got Darth out on circuit as well. He's gone quite deep into turn 10, but lots of different lines to be taken through there. And actually, guys, we'll try and find an opportunity at some point to try and make some predictions, because I think we missed out on that last season, and I think it was quite a favourite. So I've thankfully got my template all set up here on my notepad on my phone, so I'll reset that for the time being, and then we'll sort of get around to intervals of little action, and we'll try and get those in, and then we can come back to those or at some point, well, at the end of the season, and see who actually got it right. But yes, I remember we missed it last season, and it was quite a shame. I reset that, so we'll keep an eye. But here comes, I think Darth has set the fastest time. It's 17.6 that from the Ferrari.
That was a monumental lap from Darth. He's clearly done practice since Friday, because his Tier 1 quali time, it was an 18.0. And that was after 3 attempts. So to get a 17.6 on his banker, that is quite something.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'll expect he'll have the Red Bull duo. I mean, they'll be currently in the Mercedes, but I think he'll have those guys for company, I think. But I don't know if anyone will be able to touch that in these early parts of the session at least. But I'd look at perhaps LB and Lawrence as well. Those would be two drivers who could be up there. Muhiti, if he gets his act together, I think can get himself up in the action. It's a shame that Mr. J-Man isn't here. He was being quite he's been quite the qualifier of late, but he's not here to do that this session. But hopefully he can be back behind the wheel with us soon. Watching LB making his way through Sector 3, tricky sector this one.
Yeah, indeed it is. Very easy to go wrong here. Bergan coming through the last corner as well, new to Tier 2. It's not the fastest lap, was very tentative in the last sector, and I don't think that's a representative time for Bergan. LB coming across the line, an 18.9, a long way off from his first attempt. And again, he's got a lot of pace to unlock as well, but Darth with a 17.6 on his first attempt. This could be, I mean, LB's lap and Lawrence's lap, they were around 18.1s in Tier 1, so unless they've improved by quite a margin since Tier 1 as well, there could be a dominant race on our hands.
Well, that's a shame to see Mango had joined in but has left. Yeah. Too late for that, unfortunate. He could have stuck around qualifying, well, the race at least.
Well, he does intend to. I think maybe his connection tripped out. But.
Let's see, but Bergen making his way through at the moment. On a better lap, a more representative time, I think. Purple to the middle sector. Not sure how accurate that is to his pace at the moment, but I think he was on a second cooldown lap on the first go around. So it's this one's the attack. So here he comes to the final corner in that Tauri, making his way down towards the line. It's not going to be too quick, but it's a 19.2, so he's going to go ahead of Judith by a few tenths.
Lawrence up to P6 as well in the Red Bull. Tia still in the pits for now. I'm sure he'll do a lap before the end of the session. But yeah, the time's looking very close actually on the grid, except for the top one.
Yes, it certainly seems so. I think Mohiti will be the next to drop us a lap time in. So actually, we'll make our way over to the predictions. We've got a bit of time, and we'll actually, yeah, we'll start with constructors champions for this season.
Ferrari, it's got to be.
Yeah, I feel that. You know what? I'm gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna be hopeful. I'm gonna say the Red Bull duo, Lawrence and LB.
Okay.
Just to be different. I think I know I'm wrong, but I'm just gonna go against. I'm gonna go against the conventions, guys. I'm not gonna conform. I'm not gonna be a conformist.
I feel like whether they do well or not is entirely dependent on whether LB can have a connection that keeps him in races.
Yes, I mean he had some. I think it was the 3 races in a row he was on pole and lagged out straight as the race started, which did not help his campaign last season at all. So hopefully his internet provider will sort themselves out. So we'll go then to the drivers' champion.
You know, I have faith. Lawrence will be great.
Okay. I think I'm going to say Darth. I think it's got to be done.
Yeah.
Got to be done. Although he may end up making his way over to another championship. But we'll wait and see. We'll go now with most pole positions.
As it stands, Darth.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with LB just because his form was great in qualifying. I can see last season, of course. But of course, the connection may be his downfall. Lawrence is 5 tenths up, by the way, making his way through the final corner now. Let's see if the Red Bull can place himself anywhere closer to the top would be great. It is P2.
18.1, there we go. Half a second off Darth, so he's still a long way off pole position, but that's not a bad effort at all from Lawrence, and clearly getting more comfortable with the car and with the lack of racing line. We've got yellow flags. I think that's just someone letting another through. Muhiti's also on a lap in the Aston Martin, coming through sector 2 now. What's the time going to be across the sector line? It's going to be 2 tenths up for Muhiti, so could get himself past Palang into P3.
Yeah, this could be a decent time from the Turkish driver in that Aston Martin, making his way around. He'll hope that he's in. Well, I mean, not this season, but he'll hope he's in Fernando's car. If he's going to be in anyone, but he's making his way through the final few corners now, through the final when he comes. Muhiti, can he get himself any further towards the top? It's P3, it's an 18.2 for Muhiti, just a tenth away from Lawrence. Not a bad lap time.
Yeah, it's much better again from Muhiti. I'm really hoping he can break his duck from last season, because he had an absolutely horrible season. Just as I say that, he spins at turn 3, but luckily it's on his in-lap. Yeah, last season was very, very bad for Muhiti. Just came off the back of losing the title by just 1 point. And then, I mean, no one could have predicted how his season would have gone after that. We all thought he'd be a contender for the title, Sumo, and then it just He just dropped off completely. He was nowhere.
I think Tira's forgotten who his teammate is, I think. It's been mistaken. He's been helping LB down the race, though. LB won't be too adverse to it. It looks like a quick time. It is a 17.7. Only a tenth away from Darth Nihilus, and I think Darth might be a bit worried about that one.
That is very close indeed, and someone has finally gotten near that pole time, which is good to see. TV Judith also improved, just 1.8 seconds off the pace, just 2/10 off Bergen and 4/10 off Tier, so not too far off at all for Judith. I mean, Judith being last doesn't really tell the whole story here. Obviously, we have a lot of drivers who haven't been able to make the opener today. If they had been here, Judith would not be last at that time.
No, for sure. And yes, I think Judith definitely got some more pace behind it. Notice they're running my racing number there, number 97. Always nice to see out on there. And the number 97, of course. Well, fun story. I used to actually race in real life. It was sort of like banger racing, but it was non-contact. It was racing around a dirt ring, really.
Bergan improves by a second.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sumo. Up to 4th place. Much better from the AlphaTauri newbie.
Yeah, indeed, and that could be quite the time to watch. We could be seeing a new front runner here in Tier 2. This could be something interesting. But to continue on, my racing number was number 97 on there. That is why my chosen racing number is 97. Because yeah, I used to run that in real life. I only raced a couple of times. I wasn't very good. I was only 16 really, learning how to drive a car properly. So it wasn't the best. I was in for a P3 at one point, but I crashed the car, and that was it. A bit like my virtual racing career, really. A bit disappointing. But we got 2 more predictions left to go. Let's go with most podiums.
I'll go with Lawrence.
You know, I'm going to go with Robsu. I think
that's a good shout. That's a good shout.
I mean, I think he finished on the podiums in all the races he competed in, I believe, except for one.
Yeah, well, he competed in 2 and finished in the podium on one of them, but nearly won the race.
I mean, you know, 50%.
50%, yeah, 50%.
I'll take those odds. I'll take those odds. We've got one more, and we've got most laps led.
That will be Dark, I think.
I'll stick with that as well. I'll stick with Dark as well.
It's like that scene from The Apprentice where they, one of them says that they had a 50% approval rate of the product they made. And one of the others asked how many people they asked, and they said, well, there were 2.
I tell you what, I used to love watching The Apprentice. It's one of my favourite shows, and I just didn't watch it last season.
Oh man.
Yeah, I just didn't watch. I love the drama of it all, to be honest.
Yeah.
I could probably still watch the whole season. To be fair, it'd probably still be on iPlayer for a while, so I can probably go back and watch all of that. So,
yeah, you can.
I think I already know who won though, so.
It's sort of my guilty pleasure show. Yeah, like I don't like that I enjoy it, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I think mine's EastEnders, but you didn't hear that from me.
Muhiti, by the way, is 2/10 up in Sector 1.
Yeah, I'm just watching Tier as well. He's making his way through Muhiti. He'll be lighting up the time boards. Oh, that's not the track, Tier. That'll be a back-off lap, I think. Let's go with Tier then. Actually, he's making his way in. He's 2/10 up, crossing the Sector 2 line. Let's see where he can put that Aston Martin. I think this will be his last run. Yes, it will. 1 minute 46. He won't have time to go in and change the tyres. So the last runs are coming in then. And we're watching the Turkish driver in the Aston Martin make his way through the final chicane.
Oh no!
Oh, he spun!
Oh, he is going to be gutted with that. And spinning is just what he did not want to do this season, and he's done it already. And he was on a good lap as well. He'll be very disappointed. He's not going to be able to have another attempt, I don't think. No, he won't. It's not enough time left, so he is going to be out of quali. Who's that coming across the line?
P6. Arthur Hillis. He's on an outlap, so keep an eye on that Ferrari as he makes his way across the line. Where's Palang going to put himself? No improvement. I think this is his beginning of his lap. Is Bergen going to make a lap? He is. He's going to go for another one. So keep an eye on that AlphaTauri. He's quite quick.
Tier is 3/10 up as well, Sumo. He's looking good. Judith is coming around and into the pit, so Judith is not going to improve, unfortunately. But Tier is coming around to improve now on the final sector, final chicane. Don't spin it on the exit. Very easy to do. He doesn't. Round the final corner he comes. What's the time going to be? He was 3/10 up. Can he get himself ahead of Palang? Not quite. 200ths away, but a good improvement from Tier. And I think Judith has probably some time left in the bank. Unfortunately, but that's totally fine. Debut can be tough sometimes.
Yeah, Daphne Hillis is 200ths of a second up on his previous. Again, very deep into turn 10. Muhiti got well out of the way, not as to not give our defending champion any toe whatsoever. But coming through the final few corners now is Muhiti on the helicopter shot, watching that chicane. That looked pretty put together, doesn't spin it on the exit. Final corner now, flat all the way to the line. Can he improve his time that a little bit more? It does. It's a 17.4. Can anybody catch that in these dying moments?
LB is 2/10 up through Sector 2, Sumo. He might do it. He needs a good Sector 3 to secure the lap, though. Muhiti and Kroos are both into the pits. It's all about those that are still on laps. LB hits both curves on the chicane. That's not going to help his lap time at all, and he's backed off. He's backed off. He obviously lost too much time at that final chicane. So LB, P2, Lawrence lost some time. I saw him have a bit of a moment out of turn 4, and he's backed off as well. So he's going to be P3 at best. What about Bergan? He's
had a spin.
Yeah, he's backed off, and Tier's not on a lap. So there is your qualifying results.
Wow, that is a shame. It looked like quite the session, but I think the circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia is getting the best of some of the drivers, but it never got the best of Daphne Hillis in the Ferrari. He secures his first pole position of this season, and I'm sure the first of many in that Ferrari. Can anybody challenge him going into the race? Tears were tired into pit lane, of course, but the session is pretty much over. We're just waiting for the drivers to make their way across the line, or the game to let us go, but decent qualified session there, some close times. LB did give it a good go, and unfortunately backed off and just lost a bit of that time through there. What could have been for LB, I think, but he's in a good place to attack. He's got his teammate right up alongside him as well. Remember, these two are a driver pairing despite the difference of car at the moment, and that might give them an advantage moving into the race.
Absolutely, it might. But Darth will be very happy to get pole. That's some crazy improvement given that he did an 18.0 just on Friday. So he's improved 6/10 in 3 days, which is, 4 days, which is absolutely insane. But it is him who takes pole. I'll let you run through the grid, Sumo.
Yes, so with Daphne Hillis then is your man on the front, on pole position after this qualifying session, with LB lining up along the front row beside him. It's Lawrence and Bergen taking up row number 2, with Muhiti and Krauser occupying the 3rd. Palang and Tier take up position 7 and 8, with TTV, Judith and Maniac Mango making up the rest of the grid. Mango, of course, will start at the very back as he didn't participate in this session, but we do have one more car on the grid, and that should help us get quite the race, which I think we're going to be in for. And I was meaning to ask, Ghost, how was Tier 1 last week? I wasn't there, I wasn't able to watch, but was it crazy? Was any controversies? I did see that there was a lot of stewards reports.
Yeah, just the 4, but no, it was a difficult race. There was an early safety car, lap 7, and so the people who started on hards, they had to go hard, medium, medium, in theory, and most did, but I decided I was 4 seconds behind Lifebout at the time. He came in. I did some maths, and calculated my tyres would be at about 85 at the end. So I decided my only chance of winning the race was to stay out. So I did that, and did 27 laps on mediums. They did get to about 85% at the end, but I got overtaken on the last lap, but I was still very happy with second. But it just shows you can take the mediums a long way, and it does give you some benefit. I still gained around 2 or 3 seconds, even after getting overtaken on the last lap overall. So it's very tricky. If there is an early safety car, drivers have got some decisions to make, and especially when you've got Darth, LB, Bergen, Muhiti and Palang all on the hards, that early safety car comes in, sort of around that same time, lap 7, 8, they'll have to make a decision.
Yeah, they certainly will. The strategy did say medium to hard, or I think it was soft, medium for the strategies, but I think the one stop is going to be the preferred option for everybody. Then it is, of course, the two drivers on the front row, Darth and LB on the hard tyres, Lawrence opting for the medium, and is then sandwiched by some more hard tyre runners with Bergen and Muhiti, who actually spun off the line, is well off the circuit trying to make up places. At least not bothering anybody, but a little bit cheeky there. You might as well just stay in position really for the formation there.
Yeah.
But then we've got Krauser on the mediums and Palang on the hards, and then finally TTV Judith and Maniac Mango on the medium tyres. So a few drivers opting for the aggressive strategy and a few opting for a bit more of a conservative one. It's a 50-50 split for it, and the Krauser and Palang have just been disqualified. Making contact there on the formation. That's not the best thing, but now get some cold tyres, but everyone weaving and weaving and weaving. And I think Darth Mihilis is going to be weary of Lawrence going into turn 1. Lawrence will try and get a good start, of course. Darth will try and get himself the best start he possibly can as well, but this is a long race. It's 33 laps, and it's not the longest lap time around here, but it really does take its toll, especially with how tough this circuit can be.
Absolutely right. It's going to be a tough 33 laps for our drivers, and it could well be survival of the fittest. So we will see how this one goes. Especially that sector 3 can be absolutely lethal on the worn tyres. So let's see how this goes.
It's very easy to spin into that, going through that final corner, I should say. Especially on worn tyres, you think you've got the grip, and then it's sort of, the rear sort of steps out on you, doesn't it? And then you're sort of, you're a bit of a sitting duck, and unless you sort of back off, but then if you've got somebody close and they get it right, then you're still a sitting duck because you've got no speed, no momentum to put you down, and LB's going to struggle a little bit, I think. Poor camera angles once again from Codemasters, but we've got 5 red lights here in Spain for Season 7. A delayed start once again. I don't know what keeps causing this. Drive through for Judith for a jump start, but we're off and racing here in Tier 2 once more, and it looks like a decent start from Darth, I think. I don't know what's going on. It's going to be free wide going down into turn 1. Lawrence, Darth, there's big contact. They can't see, there's horrible camera angles, but Lawrence is in the lead. Darth is under attack from the LB, his teammate as well, and a little bit of contact between the two of them. And LB into 3. VSC, there's been a huge crash, and that's Krauser out of this race.
Krauser is out. It was a crash between Krauser and Muhiti. I don't know what happened, but Krauser is out. Muhiti, I believe, has no wing. Yeah, no wing on that Aston Martin into the gravel. It's a disaster start for both of them to Season 7. I do not know what happened. I was riding on board with Maniac Mango as he made a great start up to P6. But yeah, that's a real shame. And Judith with a drive-through for a jump start is not the way they would have wanted to start their season. We are under green flags again, though.
Yeah, we are. Not the way you wanted to start a season at all, especially for Krauser as well. We had a great few races, finishing on the podium when he was driving for Ferrari, but he's out of this race before a lap has even been completed. But what a start from Lawrence. He shot up there, used those medium tyres to great effect, and got himself in the lead. He can now sort of control the pace here. He can try and get LB to attack, these two have been well known for working well together, especially through the last season as well. That's Bergen, he's spun in the chicane. I think Mango spun as well, coming through turn 16. He's in the gravel, and that's going to invite a bunch of drivers up. Muhiti peeling into the pits for that unplanned pit stop. They'll be praying for safety cars, these two, and the rest of the guys at the back as well. But we're going to be turning our attention to the front of the grid as Daphne Hillis is on the hunt for Lawrence, with LB not far behind.
Well, I knew this would be a mistake-prone race, but I wasn't quite expecting so many spins on lap 1. I think they could be in for a long ride here, Tier 2 drivers. But Judith with the drive-through, still not last. Maniac Mango has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in. But yeah, Muhiti with a wing change, Crow's out the race. Judith with a drive-through. Maniac and Bergan both spinning at the last corner, all in one lap.
Yeah, Codemaster's really not wanting to give me any decent angles today. I had an awful angle for the start, couldn't see anything. Getting awful angles for this battle here because Daphne Hillis is all over the back. I don't know what sort of hard compound tyres he's got on that car, but he's slipping so fast. He's all over Lawrence already.
I think they're in disguise, Sumo. I think they've got white walls, but they're really mediums. Here he comes now. ERS deployed down the inside of Lawrence. Is he going to be done before the corner? Yes, it is. Brakes late and gets the move done, gets the car stopped, and Darth back into the lead of the
race.
Great
exit though from Lawrence in that corner. He got very close to the back of that Ferrari, but nowhere near overtaking at the moment. He'll have a little look maybe in towards turn 4 and 5, but there'll be no way through. He'll stay with him, of course, but Daphne Hillis looking very put together on those hard compounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Judith round again. Unfortunately, the last corner has not been a good debut for Judith, sadly. Muhiti catching up at the back, 5 seconds between the two of them, but Lawrence has just got to stick with Darth now, try and get the DRS and try and get back past, and then maybe push Darth into LB, because of course LB should be in a Red Bull. Lawrence and LB are teammates.
Yes, they are. So it's actually Red Bull and Red Bull chasing the one Ferrari there today, and those two will have a good start to their constructors campaign if they well, as things go. Oh, that's a mistake from Darth. That might invite Lawrence through, and he's going to be very close, but he had to slow down to avoid hitting the back of the Ferrari, and here comes the Red Bull now. Side by side they go in towards turn 1. LB going to try and find a way through as well. Has to be forced onto the inside. It's going to be free wide again, is it? Not quite, but the Mercedes is through. That's actually a Red Bull in disguise, but it's Red Bull 1-2 at the moment. LB going to look to try and get past his teammate as well. No way through, and now Darth has got to navigate LB, who's going to make it as hard as he possibly can for his teammate.
He certainly is. Lawrence leading the race. LB now in P2, and Darth one mistake and loses 2 positions. He's going to be annoyed with himself for that, but it is just about these 3 because Tia is 4 seconds behind in P4, so he'll be wanting to profit from any trouble that these 3 run into. But yeah, he's looking good at the moment, but Darth, yeah, he's going to be frustrated with that.
Yeah, he certainly will, and the mistakes do creep in, the complacency does creep in from time to time. Muhiti's caught up to the back of Judith now, and Palang does, well, Palang is keeping Tia company as well in the midfield, so we'll keep an eye on those battles as we go along, but this is the one we want to watch. It's the top 3 drivers all duking it out, the 4 places at the moment. Muhiti getting very close. That's a mistake from Judith, and that's invited Muhiti straight past the Alpine. Not the best of starts for Judith and their campaign here in Tier 2. Lawrence sets the fastest time, a 21.751 for Lawrence, and it's all aboard the Lawrence train at the moment for Darth and LB, who are using that DRS to power themselves down the main straight.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's going to be tricky now for Darth. This is a similar situation Max Verstappen found himself in the first sort of part of the Australian Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago. He had 2 Mercedes in front of him, and there wasn't really much he could do to get past until, of course, Russell pitted and then the red flag came out. But yeah, even if you're in a faster car, or you're just a faster driver, which I think Darth is, it's going to be very, very difficult to make any progress here.
Yeah, it certainly will. And LB and Lawrence are no slouches either. And Lawrence still on his campaign for a Tier 2 championship, of course. Came close a couple of times, but still no luck at the moment. But he's starting off strong here for the time being. But I'll refrain from talking about it all too much, as the commentator's curse, or as I've recently been corrected on, the commentator's coincidence is what it's called. But yes, it is prevalent here.
It certainly is.
Here comes Palang getting close to the back of Tier, going to look to the inside. It's going to be side by side for the Haas and the Mercedes. The Mercedes is actually a Mercedes this time, and it's Palang up the inside and into P4.
Yeah, indeed, those mediums already starting to feel the pain.
Oh, bigger spin from Mango.
Oh, damn, at the last corner again from Maniac Mango. And down to P7, Bergen up to P6. I think at the back there it's going to be all about who spins the fewest times. Yes. As Muhiti proves the point by spinning at the final corner again, and goes down to 9th as a result. Judith back up to 8th. And yeah, definitely survival of the fittest at the back, but at the front it's all going to be about who can gain that advantage and who can keep it between these three, Lawrence, LB and Darth.
Yeah, Lawrence won't want to try and get too out of touch with LB, otherwise he's going to be a bit vulnerable to Darth, who's just keeping with him. He's filling up the mirrors of that Mercedes, that's actually a Red Bull, and is putting the pressure on in that Scarlet Ferrari for the time being. But look, he's dropped out of DRS, has LB, and his Lawrence is going to probably just go, I think, and leave LB to it to defend. But look how much he's closing in already. Darth is all over the back. LB covers the inside, around the outside goes to Ferrari. It's a job done for Darth. It was a useless attempt to defend, but
he's still got a chance.
Oh, he's round.
Turn 2 is a horrible corner at the best of times, and I've seen so many people spin there. Darth Nihilus down to P5 as a result. He's going to be fuming. Mango has spun again. He's down to P9, but it's all about the top 2 now. Red Bull 1-2.
Yes, it is, and Palang and Tier have found their way past, and here comes Tier, looking to the outside of turn 5 of Palang. They're side by side. Tier's got the softer tyre, of course. No way through. The door closes on the Mercedes driver, and Palang keeps P4. This is some great racing between the two of them now, and Darth's going to get involved in this as well. So there's 3 cars now fighting in amongst the midfield for that final place on the podium. Darth has got it all to do.
He certainly does, and he nearly spins again out of turn 9. That was so close. Tier down the inside of Palang. There's contact between the two of them, and there's contact. Darth Nihilus hits Tier as well. Nothing that Darth could do. I don't know quite what happened. I think there was some lag involved there, because it didn't look like there was a lot of contact, but Tier went absolutely round. So Tier down to P5. That battle is nullified, unfortunately, and Darth Nihilus has now got to chase after Palang, but into the pits comes Darth. There must have been damage to that Ferrari, and Darth now has to choose whether to try and take the mediums all the way to the end, or to go for the 2-stop.
Yeah, that's a shame for Darth. This is not the race he would have wanted to start with. It's mediums for the Ferrari, but that was quite a heavy hit there. And I hope you weren't looking for a nice chill evening, Jackalacko, because Tier 2 once again providing the stewarding work.
Absolutely. Well, Darth coming out the pits on those mediums. Still in front of Judith, of course, who's down in P7. Maniac Mango a long way down. Who's that's now spun? Is that Bergen? I think it was Bergen, yeah. Spinning at turn 2, or a half spin at least. But Darth Nihilus now 10 seconds. Oh yeah, it definitely was Bergen who half spun. That gap just went down 3 seconds. So 8 seconds or so between him and P5 at the moment. But he's got a lot of work to do, and he's not going to be happy in that cockpit. He's got to calm down, I think.
Yeah, he does calm down, get back into that headspace, get back into the flow of things. But this is a dream start for Lawrence and LB. An absolute dream start for those two. And at least I'd love to hear what Nihilus has to say after the race, because I think he might have a few words. But someone who is in the pits now is Palang, finds himself on the podium. This at the moment. This is his first foray in Tier 2, I think. He's a reserve driver in the Haas, so doing a decent job. Tier's going to take that spot for the time being. But early stop for Palang. He must have some damage, maybe. No damage? No, he's just putting some new tyres on. Two stop, maybe.
Yeah, hasn't repaired his wing. It could be that he didn't have damage and he's just coming in for an early stop, or alternatively it could be that the game just didn't repair his wing, because that happens sometimes. So he's down to P4 and now under pressure from Bergan while he's got those cold tyres. Darth Hill is 5.5 seconds down, so quite some work to do for the Ferrari driver, but he's definitely got the pace to get himself at least up to P4 here, and I think back on the podium possibly.
Yeah, he certainly does. He'll want to not get involved in any more incidents on his charge back toward the front. But Bergan and Palang is your closest battle for the time being, but Palang may find himself shooting away, but not making mistakes like that. That was very deep through turn 7 and 8 there, and up through the fast right-hander of 9. Bergan on the attack at the moment, not quite close enough at this time to make a move on Palang for the time being, but he's putting on the pressure as they come through Sector 3 now.
Yeah, it certainly is, but he's got to take advantage before those tyres warm up for Palang, which I think they will have done by now. So I think Bergen's window of opportunity to make this overtake might have already gone. We'll see if Palang gets a good exit. He doesn't, he's back in the pits, so it must have been, like I said, Sumo, the game just didn't repair his wing. He forgot to put repair wing damage on yes. And if it's on auto, it won't repair minor damage like that. Darth sets the fastest lap just to prove a point, and he is chasing down Bergan at a rate of knots. I think that place is going to be gained pretty fast.
I think he was screaming at his pit crew like I usually do.
Yeah. Change my wing!
Love that. I love that. I do miss that about racing, actually, just screaming at the pit crew. It's quite funny, or complaining about Mark and his poor calls over the radio. Yes, shame for Mango's way down. He's been lapped, actually, so it's going to be a horrible race for Mango from here on in. I think he came in for some hards and hasn't looked back really, but LB and Lawrence, they're well ahead of everyone else. Tier 19 seconds down the road from his not teammate at the moment, but Darth, he's caught up to Bergen.
Certainly has. Right behind in DRS now. This move should be done into turn 1, I think. Relatively easily. I don't think Bergen will fight too hard. Yeah, Darth now, is he going to be able to take these all the way to the end? It's really difficult, and you do risk a puncture. So I don't know if he'll risk it or if he'll go for the 2-stop. We'll find out as the race goes on. But here he comes, DRS and ERS enabled, and ahead well before the corner. Bergan, no defence from the AlphaTauri driver, happy to let the defending champ go.
Yeah, easy move for Darth there, and now he's been setting his sights on Tier. And I think he'll get ahead of him just through pit stops, I think. Because obviously he hasn't come in there. Let's have a look. No penalties as of yet as well. I'm quite impressed here too. Keep it that way, that'll be great. But yes, so Bergen, Judith, Lawrence, LB and Tier all yet to stop on their race strategies at the moment. Of course, most of the drivers have been having to stop, not of their own accord really, just because they've had to had some incidents throughout the race.
Muviti right behind Judith at the moment for P6. They've both obviously stopped already after getting caught in some unfortunate drama early on, so they will have to stop again. But these two still battling mainly on who can spin the fewest times between the two of them. I think Muhiti is faster. But at the moment, Judith is ahead, and Muhiti is going to have to find a way past.
Yes, of course. And if TTB Judith does end up watching this, I'll put out the question: if you could let us know which correct pronouns to use, that would be very useful. Just out of wanting to get it right, I suppose. But we'll stick with they for now, because it's I guess the politically correct thing to do. But here comes Muhiti making a move. Can he get that done correctly, making his way down to turn 1? It's all done before the corner. and he's up into P6. But Judith, do they have an answer for that?
I don't think they do. I think Judith is just going to sit back and hope to secure P7 today. Is going to have to stop again though, so might find that difficult. Maniac Mango a long way down. I think has been if he spins again, is about to be lapped by the drivers just ahead of him, which would not be a good day for Maniac Mango. Perhaps he has rear wing damage. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. But yeah, it's a while since we've seen Mango race in APPF1, so could just be rusty as well. But yeah, it is a shame. I would like to point out, by the way, look at Judah's helmet. Look at those devil horns on the front.
Yeah, I actually think they're antenna. I think that's some sort of,
okay.
I think it's a, or is it? I don't know, but yeah, it does look like horns, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like some big, like, white eyes. So I thought it was some strange sort of bug, but I could be wrong. But it is a nice looking helmet. I do kind of like it, actually. Although I don't know how aerodynamically sort of the sound that would be. I think some engineers would be having a bit of a field day on the drivers there, being like, like that. You're gonna slow the car down. I mean, it's crazy how much minor things like that can affect the flow of air over a car. But of course, the game really won't factor that in. It's just, it's cosmetic. Yeah. I think in real life, I'm not sure how much you get away with that. But we've got a bit of a lull in the racing. There's a lot of gaps at the moment. But I'm sure maybe a safety car or something might change up those fortunes at the minute. With the amount of spins we've had, it may not be far before we get a crash. As Mango gets a 3-second time penalty. Mango, you ruined it.
First one of the day. Yeah,
14 laps in though, so it's
yeah. I will reiterate this to Judith, but Judith, if you are watching, I don't feel too disheartened by being off the pace. Like I said, there's a lot of drivers who would be more similar to your pace today who have not been able to make it to this race. So you'll have some good races this season, absolutely, and hopefully we can get some more people in as well as the season goes on. But yeah, don't be too disheartened, and perhaps this is just a bad track for them. I've seen that plenty of times. Spain can be a killer sometimes, as Palang is now catching up very quickly. Meanwhile, Lawrence has opened up a 5.5 second gap to LB, his not teammate. But yeah, I do wonder if he can keep that gap, and if that's going to be enough to secure victory, because of course Lawrence started last season with a win, and obviously didn't end up in the title in the end, but was very close, and I think he'll very much want to get the season off to a start with a win, I believe, for the 3rd season running.
Yeah, he will, and I mean, Lawrence actually, he's running with no line. I do remember that, and so that's his handicap. But he's got better and better and better with it. But he has lacked those moments of consistencies. And then we had the incident in Baku. We all remember that one. And then there was just a few moments where it sort of slipped away from Lawrence, I think, and Dark sort of crept in there with his consistency and his speed, as Palang is all over the back of Judith. And just add to that point, actually, for Judith, there's a big shake, and that's Palang through. Never give up, is what I'll say. Yeah. There's points for every position in APPF1. So even if you're right at the very back, you're still scoring something, and you never know what could happen in motor racing. There could be spins and this, that, and the other. And actually, it's better just to get the laps in. You get the practice in. You get a feel for the track, a feel for the car. You just get more and more experience and get that in. I mean, I've experienced it myself. I'm not a terrible racer, but I've never been, you know, the most consistently quick. But I've noticed that because I don't play the game as much as I used to, I've lost a lot of that natural pace that I sort of had. And I think if I was to pick the game up again and play a lot more consistently, I'd probably get back to not race-winning ways, but certainly, I mean, I've got a few race wins under my belt. Not to brag or anything, but I was definitely up there fighting. I earned a reputation as the brick wall. who was it? It was Dave Dave who was saying that these complaining about those Renaults. Me and Sonic, an infamous duo back in the early days of APPF1 Championship racing. That was some great fun.
Oh, good old days, Simo, good old days.
Yes.
Yeah, Rick actually compiled stats on how many wins every single driver in APPF1 has. So I can tell you exactly how many wins you have.
What is that, like 5?
I believe you're close. Yeah. Sumo Gilligan, where are you? 4 wins for Sumo.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go.
I've definitely had more podiums.
Yes.
Podium appearances. But, I think most, if not all of those wins came from one season. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was that one season in the sprints. Actually, no,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I think I won a race in season 2 of sprints.
Yeah.
That was one of my best races. I was quite dominant throughout that whole season. I remember it now because I started P3. The 2 drivers ahead of me both had an incident, and I got into first, and that was it. I never looked back. I mean, my only threat was, I think it was a little bit of a moment from Palang there, but I think it was another moment from Palang in the Haas. Not exactly what we want to do. Those worn tyres. They're not actually that worn. Actually, they're only 6 laps old, but. Sector 3 striking there a couple of times for the Haas, but no more mistake for Palang. Going to keep that car on the tarmac. But I think it was only 10. I think it was my only threat during that race, but I was able to stay consistently quick through the castle section, which is what kept me in the lead.
Still can't believe Ted got a sprint championship under his belt.
Did he?
He did. Yeah, he won season 3.
That's because I wasn't there to stop him. That's
Yeah.
that's why. Season 3 was probably my worst season in sprints. I raced twice and didn't score points in either of those races.
Well, Lawrence has come into the pits, by the way, for the hard tyres. So he exits, and now his job is to get those up to temperature and try and keep the gap that he had to LB. It was about 6 seconds when he came in. Oh, sorry, it was season 2 that Ted won. Yeah, it was about 6 seconds when he came in. So LB now has got the job to do. A few more laps on those hards before it's time to come in for the mediums. But I'm interested to see what the gap is going to be when he exits the pits.
Yeah, he got a daft 9.3 down the road, but I don't think he'll be worrying about that too much. I think LB is his target for the time being, and I'll have to put in the laps. Lifebout said a few moments ago, I was meaning to get round to this comment, but Lifebout was asking, what's your favourite colour curb? What curb are we talking about, Lifebout? Are we talking about the sort of, what do you call them, the rumble strip curbs, the multicoloured ones, or are we talking about the sausage curbs? Because from what I recall, I only remember there being about 2 different colours of sausage curb. And if we're going for that, I kind of like the orange ones, as Palang has spun. I'll talk about them like a sweet. We sort of talk about the fruit pastels, the red ones are the best ones, of course. But if it's going to be the sort of the rumble strips, I actually like the yellow and green of Brazil.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do like I know it's not on the calendar anymore, but Hockenheim's blue and white ones are quite good, quite nice.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, and also Valencia's red and yellow ones. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I do remember those.
Those were good. So yeah, it's all the different ones. Anyone that's not red and white is my favourite, I think.
Yeah, black and white, Silverstone, of course. They're quite nice, actually.
Yeah.
Palang's on another spin. He's having a series of mishaps at the moment. He keeps seeing that white dot stopping.
Yeah,
Judith's
me too.
catching up. This is exactly what I mean, Judith. These things happen. Palang's on a trip in the gravel now.
But so is Judith, nearly into the grass. Gets out of the way of Bergen, who's lapping, but yeah, Judith.
Nice, I think.
Judith, got to be a bit careful there. Oh, was that Lawrence? Ah, yes, you're right, it was Lawrence. Yeah, Palang really not having a good time in that Haas at the moment, and Judith 3.5 seconds behind.
Yeah, I actually wonder if Tier's got some side pod damage, actually. You can't really see it. But, like I say, Darth did get quite bad.
It was a big hit.
Enough to give him minor damage, at least. But, yeah, everyone's very spread out at the moment, and a safety car wouldn't go in this, I think. There's a lot of lapped cars at the moment. So, I think it would only really be the top 5, top 6, maybe? With really top 6, I'd say. Muhitti's about to lap Mango, so top 6 would be the only ones who really benefit from the safety car.
Yeah.
Palang has just been lapped, or has been lapped for a while now.
No, he's been lapped for a while. He's been lapped by Lawrence now, which is the key. Although
Muhitti has been lapped as well.
He's not getting out of the way, which is very illegal. And Lawrence might want to report him to the stewards for that one, because he's just re-overtaken with DRS. And this is actually really disrupting Lawrence. This is not what he needs at all, a distraction like this, when he's got no line, which he's got to get used to. And also, LB, his teammate, is going to be coming in soon, and he needs this these good outlaps in order to consolidate his own gap. He is now going back through Palang, but yeah, not what he needs.
No, not at all. It's very distracting when you've got a ghost in front of you. And it's also very annoying during safety cars. You've got a ghosted car that's going incredibly slow as Palang
that solves the problem.
That does indeed solve the problem.
And here comes Judith.
Yeah, Judith going to make up a place. There they go. There they go, making their way through.
Bergen into the pits for his scheduled stop. Onto the mediums it will be until the end. Bergen's had a pretty trouble-free race, really, in the AlphaTauri. Just been quietly doing quite well there in P5. Muhitti in as well, just behind in the Aston Martin. They're both, I think, going to still exit P5 and 6. Yeah, Bergen quietly doing quite well there.
Yeah, for sure. And LB still yet to come in. Is he going to come in this lap? I'd imagine he would. No, not yet. He's really extending this stint as much as he can. He's to get the most out of the medium stint, I think. And the safety car would do LB some good, I think. It would help Lawrence, not Lawrence, it would help Darth out. Wouldn't help Lawrence all that much.
Who just set the fastest lap. There we go, Lawrence on the charge. Darth Nihilus, meanwhile, just there in P3 at the moment, would exit ahead of Tia if he pitted now. So I think it is still going to be...
side by side, sorry guys, it's got Palang and Mango, a little bit of contact between them, just a mistake perhaps from Palang, but Mango will be thrilled to see another car. Oh, there goes Palang.
I think there's rear wing damage for that Haas Sumo. He just seems to have absolutely no grip through that corner whatsoever. Which is not really explained by... well, it is explained by tyres that may be like 160 degrees, but I don't think his tyres are quite that bad. So rear wing damage that has a major possibility, and I think we might see him come into the pits to retire.
Maybe.
Oh,
doesn't put it in the barrier first.
He's reversing to get back in the pits because he oversteered on entry, which the correction then sent him back on the track again. So into the pits he comes. I think this is probably going to be a retirement, unless it's just a new set of tyres, and he's going to continue and get points. It's valiant if he is going to do that. I think that is what's going to happen. So fair enough.
You got a wing change set up? No wing change. Just new soft tyres.
Okay.
Just might as well go on those one lap old mediums, really. Soft tyres it is. I'm not sure how much he's going to regret that, but fastest lap may be incoming from Palang if he can get a decent one put together at the moment. Any other close things going on? Not really. It's just drivers all sort of driving their own race. We're still waiting for LB to come into the pits, but I think Lawrence has bridged that gap. But look at Darth. Goes down by 2 seconds at the moment. So Darth's not out of this yet, but will he come in? This is, he could enter into puncture territory. Yeah, that wouldn't be the first time we've seen that.
Yeah, he's got to do 26 laps on those mediums. I did 27, and I was really doing tyre saving. I was staying off all the curbs for most of that stint, and just saving my tyres as much as possible. And after 27 laps, they were on 85%. So Darth could be in trouble here if he is not saving his tyres and going to those lengths. LB into the pits finally for the medium tyres. He is going to exit behind Darth at the current rate, I think. It's going to be close between him and the Ferrari. Out the pits he comes. Darth Nihilus coming around the final corner, and Darth is going to be ahead in P2 as LB exits the pits. But LB, actually, it's going to be really close. Darth coming down the straight now. LB coming towards turn 1, and Darth has to watch as the Mercedes comes out ahead. But LB's going to be on cold tyres, remember, so he's got to be careful not to spin here. And Darth is going to have a chance through sector 2.
Yeah, he is, but once LB's tyres come up to temperature, he's going to have much more grip, much more of an advantage. But Darth isn't going to let this go. He's going to put the pressure on. He's going to go full attack, but there's far more battery in that Mercedes that's actually a Red Bull, making his way down towards turn 7 and 8 at the moment. Palang spins once more at turn 3 at the moment. He's not having the best of times there in P9, and those soft tyres not helping. I think you might be right, Ghost. He might have some rear end damage. It's the only explanation for spinning that frequently.
Yeah, absolutely, and he definitely wasn't spinning this frequently in Elite or Tier 1. Wow, yeah, that's a great effort from the Aston Martin. Yeah, Palang, I think, definitely running some damage on that Haas, and he's going to really struggle to get those softs to the end. And I'd be very surprised if he doesn't retire, and indeed, Maniac Mango is now up to 8th as Darth changes his mind. He was going to go into the pits, but he changed his mind at last second. It's a good thing he did, because he would have been reported if he'd gone in. I don't think it really would have affected the race result, though. But still, Darth Nihilus losing about half a second to indecision there.
Yeah, and I mean, LB's pulled well away now. Palang spun once again. It's only a matter of time before he gets into that barrier, surely.
Yeah.
Barrier's close. I've been caught short there a few times. But there he goes again,
yep.
turn 10.
I'm shocked that he is still running.
Really wants those points.
Yeah, as a reserve.
Yeah.
Darth Nihilus, 17 lap old mediums. He can pit and come out ahead of Tier, still be P3 and get fastest lap. I'm sure he will get fastest lap if he does pit. So for me, there's no reason not to. I think he's just extending the stint until he can go on the softs, and he'll do 3 or 4 laps on the softs at the end. Yeah, if he is trying to get those to the end, then I'm not sure why. But here he comes. Palang finally retires in the pit lane. He has had enough, as Darth does indeed come in, just as I say it. And that's going to be another set of mediums, unless he thinks he can take the soft 7 laps. It would be a struggle, but it's possible. As Muhitti's retired. Oh no! He's binned it! And that's a safety car! Full safety car. It's perfect timing for Darth Nihilus. Lawrence and LB...
my word.
Both going to have to come in for the softs. Everyone will be in for softs. It's Muhitti has binned it away once again. He is going to be fuming with himself. What a terrible start to the season once again. There he was in the wall. Yeah, and oh wow. Okay, so 7 drivers left in this race. Judith and Maniac Mango, I think, are both lapped. But the top 5 are going to go on to softs, and it's going to be a 4 or 5 lap shootout.
I think
5 or 6.
Lawrence might just be fine. He's got 27.8, so it's a 28-second gap. LB will lose the second place, but Lawrence will come out ahead, I think, during the safety car period. Maybe LB might stay out. Maybe just get ahead, actually. I
think LB will be ahead. Remember, they've got to drive to a delta, so Darth is going to be slower. So I think LB will be out ahead, but the two of them will be absolutely fuming because they were surefire for a 1-2 here, but now Darth is suddenly thrown back into the fight for the race win, and yeah, they're going to be gutted.
Yeah, and actually, this is where them being in different cars is helping, because they can both stop unhindered. I don't think it would have been too much of a loss, as I think LB would have got there just after his teammate left. But it's going to be as they were. I'd imagine Tier's going to make his way, and is filing his way through. But I think only the top 5 are going to be actually racing for position, as Judith and McLaren have been lapped. They might be racing one another. They might, if they can clear sort of cars, but they're going to be sort of awkwardly in amongst it. I don't think Maniac's just put on some mediums, so I think he might stay out. Or Mango. So he might get ahead of Tier and Bergen here in the pits. Maybe not Tier, maybe Bergen. Sure. As Bergen makes his way in that AlphaTauri.
Mango is lapped. According to the rules, if you're lapped under a safety car, you have to get out of the way of everyone as soon as you pass the start-finish line. But we'll see if Mango actually does that. Hopefully he does. But yeah, Bergen and Tier both into the pits. Bergen has put on a set of mediums. He doesn't think the softs are getting to the end. Well, he doesn't think they're going to be good enough by the end of the race. And honestly, it could be a good call. The softs are going to be way faster to start with, but in maybe even 2 laps, I think the tyres will be about the same. And then the softs will start dying off at the end of the race. So he could have played this very well, Bergen.
Yeah, the tyre wear around here can be very brutal, especially on those soft tyres. It's just the nature of the circuit. It's very sort of, it's a rough circuit, I think, on the tyres. It's one of those. Well, we'll be losing that chicane, actually, come next year's game. That chicane will finally be gone. It's the burden of many a racing driver in the virtual world. I'm not sure what the real life drivers think of it really, but it certainly will make it a bit more. I guess it will shave off some lap time. It will make it a little bit more, a little less tedious, that section.
Yeah, and it'll also give a longer full throttle run to turn 1, which will hopefully result in more overtakes. Bergen, of course, has stayed out and has quite a way to catch up to the safety car, but I don't know if it's going to be this lap that it will be in. It depends how quickly Bergen can catch up, really. But either this one or next lap. We are on lap 28, so we're going to have 5 laps of racing, perhaps 4.
Yes, I think it should be in this lap. I'd imagine Bergen will catch up by the time it is turned to head. Let's see though, it's quite tricky. You sort of have to drive as fast as possible on one of these to sort of try and trigger it. But I'd imagine it would be in this lap. Let's see, because it likes to come in just as it sort of gets out of turn 12. So it might even catch up after turn 10, let's see. There's Bergen there. Making his way through turn 9. Yeah, it could come in. Let's wait for that message at the top of the screen. Let's see how close it is. Surely.
I think it will come in, yeah. He's just caught up, and there we go. As soon as he catches up, safety car in this lap. So there's some debris on the track. There's debris on the track. Someone's taken damage. I'm not sure who it was. It looked like a red piece of wing, but the Ferrari doesn't have damage. So I'm not quite sure what happened. There was definitely debris there, but we're about to get back going.
Yeah, here we go then. Tentative lining up. When's Lawrence going to punch it and go? Oh, is it now? He's really coaxing them all, but off he goes. He's gone now at this time, and he's caught his teammate napping at the moment. And Tier's going to have to navigate that lapped car. He's got to get out of the way. Gets out of the way, thankfully, and so does Mango as well, it seems. So the top 5 are watching these top 5 drivers make their way through. And it's about the top 3 again. This battle reignited after the safety car restart. And it's Lawrence following LB, chased by Darth Hillis and Tier and Bergen as well. The top 5 fighting their way out at the moment. We are on lap 29 of 33 here. Who is going to come out on top here in Spain?
The Red Bulls have got to work together here. I know LB is going to want to win the race, but they've got to think about the bigger picture. They do not want to lose out their 1-2 to Darth here, and that's exactly what's going to happen if they start fighting too hard amongst themselves. So they've got to be careful here, and obviously Tier is not too far away, but I think it's going to drop off quite quickly. And Bergen could be in for P4 here if he can stay on track with Tier, because like we said, those softs are going to be struggling at the end. Darth and Hillis right behind the top two, but like you say, it's all about these three.
Yeah, it really is, and we're watching. Darth's all over it. He'd be happy that that safety car has brought him back into this race. And he'll be happy with his position, but his tyres might be the first ones to drop, as he went on them a lap earlier than everybody else, but they've been taking care of them, and LB's keeping touch with his teammate at the moment, and Darth and Hillis is staying with him. No DRS for a little while. That won't be until the next lap and the following ones. Don't get on that curve, Darth. You've already done that today. You won't want to spin around there again. And as you say, Tier has dropped off. Bergen's dropped off a little bit as well, but he might catch back up, get back in touch with Tier in front of him as well. But LB very close to the back of his teammate. Will he go on the attack, or will he stay and be a good teammate and defend?
Well, Darth used a lot of VRS on the run to turn 1. He was looking to launch a surprise attack on LB, but he was just too far away for it to work. So he's now wasted about half his ERS bar compared to LB, who still has quite a lot left in the tank. So it could be a battle of ERS here between the three. Lawrence has used quite a fair bit as well, so this is going to be an interesting last few laps. There's 3 to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, and I'll just note down 6 people watching thus far. If you've not put a like on the stream already, we've had quite a cracking race here this evening, so please do like the stream, and all the support does go a long way. And if you've not subscribed already, please do subscribe to the channel, as lingering on 120 would be great to get to. But Darth and Hillis, he's getting ever closer, but he's still not close enough to launch a move into the first corner. LB has a little look, but I don't think he's attacking. I don't think he's really using any ERS at all, only to keep Darth behind.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what's going on. DRS now enabled though, and that's going to make things more interesting. Darth again with the surprise ERS attack, but he's not close enough to make a move into turn 4. But could he make a move into turn 5? He could dive up the inside for turn 5. He's done exactly that. LB leaves him the room. Very respectful from LB. He could easily have turned in there. Darth down the inside of turn 6. They're still side by side through turn 7 and 8. LB just about ahead, but look at the gap to Lawrence now, 1.1 seconds. Darth with DRS now, and DRS. He's going to go round the outside for turn 10. Here they go again. Side by side through sector 2 and the start of sector 3. LB, I think he's going to let Darth go here because he's got the ERS to make another attack. But Darth up to P2 with 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Can LB launch an attack into turn 1?
That was some absolutely phenomenal racing between those two. What respect to go side by side through 7 and 8 as well. What an absolutely brilliant move from Darth. He was just absolutely sent. He had such little room going into turn 5, and it's DRS activated. But Darth has crept into the DRS of Lawrence. He's going to keep him in that place for now. LB's really got to try and plan an attack here. Lots of curb into turn 2. Not spinning out the Mercedes though, that's actually a Red Bull, and making his way toward that Ferrari. He's going to want to go on the attack at the moment. It's absolutely come alive in these dying moments of the race, but LB very deep there through turn 4.
Yeah, LB seems to be really struggling. I think the debris might have been from him that I saw. So if that's true, then he would have hit the back of his teammate, which, well, it's not great if that is indeed what happened. But he's out of DRS range of Darth now, and now Darth has got 1 lap to get past Lawrence, but no ERS left in the tank for the Ferrari. Tier gets a 3-second time penalty and spins round down to P5. Bergen up to P4 as a result, so free position for the AlphaTauri. What a debut he's had, but it's all about these two at the front. Lawrence leads, Darth Nihilus just behind. We've tipped these two to be championship contenders in our predictions, and here they are, 1 and 2 in the race with a 1-lap shootout. Darth with the DRS, but no ERS in the tank. Lawrence is just about running out as well, so it's all going to be the run to turn 10.
It is, and down towards turn 1 they go, trading fastest lap. Lawrence sets it, and Darth sets it as well. It's going to be the Ferrari chasing the Red Bull all the way toward the end now. Who is going to come out on top? Meanwhile, Mango and TTV Judith, they are having a little bit of a scrap toward the back. We'll keep an eye on that as it goes. We'll have a look at the time penalties as well. It's the fastest sector 1 from Darth. He's really pushing. 3-second time penalties for positions 5, 6 and 7. So they're going to be racing it out, except for Tia, of course, who's lapped the 2 cars behind him at the moment. So, well, really, they've got to make a whole lap round the circuit. I'll stop rambling about that. It's the attention here. This is the important run now. Through turn 9 they come. Here we go. DRS open on the Ferrari. Down towards turn 10. Darth's going to use everything he's got, but he just can't get close enough to the back of that Red Bull. Lawrence has a couple of more corners to navigate now. Oh, well, I think a little bit of a moment for the Ferrari. That's going to drop him back. LB is far too far back to make anything of it. Lawrence has got 4 corners to navigate. There's 1, there's 3 more to go. Here comes the chicane. Now it's 1 more corner for Lawrence.
Oh, and Darth nearly spins.
Darth nearly spins, but Lawrence for the 3rd time in 3 seasons wins the season opener here in Spain. And Darth is going to come across the line in P2 with LB rounding off the podium. And then it's Bergen on debut is going to finish P4. The McLaren gets just alongside to try and unlap themselves, and then Tier spins on the final lap. He's got no wing even ghost, but he's going to come home P5 with Mango P6 and Judith P7.
That was a great, we were watching the top 3 for obvious reasons, but there was a great little battle going on between Mango and Judith on those last couple of laps for that last position. They were both lapped, but they didn't let it stop them from having a good battle. They both have the same penalties, so it was for position, and a great little battle between the two. So I'm glad they got some racing out of what's been a pretty disappointing race for the two of them. But wow, what an ending to that race.
Oh, Fido man, why you do this every time? You say you could have competed and you pop up in the chat. Get signed up, get in the car. We'd love to have you on the circuit and out there racing. But Lawrence starts this season off strong. He's the top step of the podium, and I think we're moving the party over to go do some interviews now. Let's do that. Gosh. Oh, sorry, it's a blue screen. Classified actually, but Mahiti, Palang and Krauser didn't finish the race. Poor race from Krauser, who didn't even complete a lap. We won't be too happy with that, but there's plenty more racing where that came from. I'd be pleased to know I actually recorded the race. I didn't record qualifying. That's a shame. But I think we're just waiting. There's Lawrence, on the right for LB. So into second as well. There's LB. Gosh. What the race was wrong. Get myself situated. But right, let's kick this off. I'm sure everybody's got their party settings set correctly so that we can hear you on the stream. Wow, what a race, Ghost, eh?
What an end to the race. It's certainly spiced up there at the end. Wow.
Indeed, and well, Lawrence, it's good to be back in Tier 2. I'm sure. It was quite a cracking race there. Walk us through it. You flew off the line at the start.
Yeah, had a strong start on the mediums. Everyone else was on the hards. I was torn what to start on, but I thought I'd mix it up and go for mediums. Yeah, just had a really good start. It was quite a straightforward race really until like 5 laps from the end when the safety car came out. But in a way, the safety car did save me because I had to save a load of fuel in those last few laps, and I would have been easy pickings for LB otherwise.
Oh yes, there's some more inside information that we really don't get. I'd love to have more information for streaming and comms and all that, because you sort of get the inside thing. But that safety car, they're not too disappointing to see pop up on there. But you definitely. I mean, it might have been a straightforward race for you, but there was lots of incidents, and you nearly got yourself caught up in one when Darth Hillis had that little moment coming out of the chicane there, turn 15.
Yeah,
that could have nearly been an end to things.
Yeah, it looked like he had a bit of wheel spin. He saved it quite well, to be fair. Yeah, that could have been a very different race if we were tangled there. It's just all about just, I guess, holding back and just picking your moment, really.
Yeah, that's it, and you certainly did that out on the track as well, and you've become quite accustomed to winning the season opener. Can we expect to see you on the top step in more races to come, Lawrence?
Yeah, I think that's 3 out of 3 for season opens at the moment, so yeah. I shan't jinx it anymore.
Well, that's it, but we'll be hoping I'm sure you'll be hoping for your Tier 2 championship to finally come your way, but I'm sure the man who finished P2 will have an answer for that going forward. But a great race today, well done on the P1.
Yeah, thank you.
Best of luck going forward.
Yeah, thank you. Also, congratulations to Darth and LB on the podium too.
Amazing, thank you, Lawrence. Hand over to Ghost now with Darth Hillis.
Yeah, Darth. Well, coming into this as defending champ, there was some pressure on your shoulders. You started off with pole position, but I don't think the race quite went to plan. So talk us through your race. How did things go for you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
It was a really weird race. I'm still getting used to some new equipment, so at the start it is like pretty finicky because I haven't done one with this new equipment, and it was well, not bad. The virtual safety car pretty much gave me second place at the beginning. LB almost had it at that point, and after the BSC I made a mistake coming to turn 3. I think turn 2 it's coming in a little bit too quick, and I did a spin. So that was unfortunate, but I knew I could catch back up. There was space in the car, but later I think it was coming onto the second back straight. One of the Haas and the other Mercedes collided, and the Mercedes I just had bad luck and broke my front wing. So from that point onwards was just a recovery race until the safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, yeah, like you say, a tough few moments there for you. Obviously the spin to begin with, and then hitting Tier. Was there any time for you to react to that, the contact between Tier and Palang, or do you look back on it with regret, or do you think there's nothing I could do about that?
It was sincerely just bad luck. He didn't ghost, like he could have ghosted, but he didn't. So, and he was pretty much in the apex, the only where I could go. But yeah, I just hit him, unfortunately. Nothing he could do, really.
Yeah, it was great stuff. But a good recovery from you. Even without the safety car, you still would have found yourself on the podium, I think. So I think some good battles to come for the rest of the season. And yeah, keep at it. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. It was really fun, especially that last lap with LB, racing with LB. It was really fun and really clean. Looking forward to it all season.
Great stuff. Thank you, Darth, and congrats on your podium. I will hand over to Sumo to interview LB.
LB, that was quite a race there. You had a lot of decent moments in the race, and I think it was a race of playing the team game. But run us through it for us, would you please?
Yeah, exactly that. It was literally, I didn't mind, Lawrence going off. It was just simply keeping it nice and clean, trying to stay 1-2 for as long as possible. Obviously, when Darth made that mistake after getting past, it was sort of quite easy from there, straightforward. But then he seemed to like cursing me with a safety car when it was going beautifully well for a 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, it was a race of what could have almost been, I suppose. And we noticed there was a bit of debris flying off. Was it you that hit? Was it you that caused that, LB, or was it somebody else during that safety car period?
Debris? No, for once I actually kept my front wing clean. No spins, no crashes, no nothing. It was nice and calm for me. But no, that wouldn't have been me.
There we go. I have to try and solve the mystery of the debris flying off the track at some stage. But yeah, it was a valiant effort to try and keep Darth Nihilus behind on those final few laps, and some absolutely insane side-by-side action through 7 and 8, and then through 10 and into 12 as well. And it was absolutely thrilling to watch, and definitely had quite a bit of fun out there on track, it seems.
Yeah, no, it was a very, very good race. I was actually a bit worried. I looked at my connection before the race. It said I was on 1.9 megabytes. So I thought, okay, cool, so I'm not finishing this race, no, I'm actually going to be starting it. So to actually finish it was good. I sort of learnt my lesson when racing Palang that if you've got bad connection, just give too much space, which maybe with how easy it was for Darth to get past, I won't be making it that easy again next time. But it was good racing with Darth. And yeah, hopefully we could do a bit more in Monza, but I'm not a fan of Monza.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be plenty more great racing to go along in the next few races, but a good start for yourself and Lawrence. That'll be the lead of the Constructors' Championship at the moment. Can you keep hold of that going forward?
That's the goal. Like, I've won the drivers before, and now I sort of just want to keep on winning the Constructors. I won the Constructors once before as well, but I kind of feel the Constructors a bit more competitive. So I feel like that's sort of what we're going to be going for. Well, that's what I'm going to go for. And then if Lawrence can take the drivers as well, then perfect.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always good to see you two working together toward the front, and it was provided for us with some great entertainment. And big props to the both of you, actually, for racing lovely and cleanly. We got some great examples of clean racing for the rest of the community. But what a great race, LB, and congratulations on the podium.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the comments.
You're most welcome. It's our pleasure. And we'll move on then to the coveted part of the day. We haven't forgotten about it this time. It's driver of the day, and there's plenty of candidates out there. I think, but I think it has to go to one of the top three. And Ghost, I'm interested in your thoughts.
I would personally. I don't usually like giving driver of the day to race winners, but I think Lawrence, with his amazing start, and then keeping Darth behind at the end, keeping us cool throughout the race. It's very easy to lose focus when you're at the front, but he kept extending the gap to LB, using the tyres as best he could. So I think, personally, I'd give it to Lawrence.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that. As much as Darth did have an incredible recovery drive through that race, I think Lawrence just sort of once got in the lead at the start of the race, and then got in the lead again after Darth Nihilus' mistake. He didn't really look back, and even the safety car and the charging Darth didn't really put him off. So yeah, Lawrence, driver of the day.
Well, congrats to him, and congrats on the win. It's 3 seasons, 3 season opener wins for Lawrence. Can he convert it into a championship win this season around, though? That's the question.
Yes, certainly. And we've got 9 more rounds to tell the story of Season 7 Tier 2. And I hope that you will all be there to witness the brilliance that is the Tier 2 Championship. We may have some small sign-ups from now again, but we do never have boring races here in Tier 2, and we've got quite the calendar to go. We're going to Monza next week, the following week to Melbourne, then we go to Bahrain, Yas Marina, Interlagos, Monaco, Mexico at Imola, and then finally to Austin, Texas in the USA on the 20th of June. That'll be the final round and probably the final Tier 2 race of F1 2023. We're still waiting for a release date for the next game, but I can only assume that will be the final one. But any final thoughts, Ghost?
I don't think so, not from me.
No, well then we'll wrap things up then. Thank you to everybody who tuned in from start to finish, and it's been a pleasure as always to bring you all the Tier 2 action. We're going to be here same time again next week when we go to Monza, the Temple of Speed, for the second round of the championship, where it seems it's going to be Ferrari versus Red Bull, and it's going to be Lawrence versus Daphne Hillis, and maybe some more drivers will get themselves in the mix next week. But for now, I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you next time for some more Tier 2 action. See you later.
See you, everyone.